Hello.
Hi, we are live. This is the first time I'm using Facebook Live and I'm so tempted to use that. Primary reason is I'm with one of the great artists I have come across, and it's very rare that you come across an artist and then an exhibition by that artist, and on top of it, it's one of the rarest occasions when you come across an unique artist, because what he does, nobody else does in the world.
Absolutely.
Now, let me introduce you to the world, Mr. Patric Rozario. His brand name is Owner Rozario.
Owner Rozario. And the name of the company is Aesthetic Arts. Yeah, like Mahmood just said, nowhere in the world you will find pieces like these, because after 7 years of experimentation and a lot of errors and disasters, this came perfect. So it's just about a year and a half since I brought out these to the world, and this is my first exhibit. Doha is my first city. I'm delighted, and it's been like more than a month now, and looks like they're going to ask me to extend even further.
And that shows the incredible power that he has in his arts. So let me ask few basic questions so that people out there who are watching us live will get to know him in a better way. How do we come across Owner Rozario? As in, we have heard of Owner Monet and Leonardo da Vinci and the great artists out there. But when we say Owner Rozario, how do you define your brand in itself?
Well, about 15 years ago, I coined these words, Own a Rozario, because at the end of the day, you don't buy a Lily home, take home, you actually take Van Gogh home. You take a Monet home, and you don't just pick up a couple of millions on the sunflowers, but you take home Van Gogh with you. So it is always the artist that you take home. So therefore, Rozario is my surname. I had a little dream that someday the world will own a Rozario. So that tagline, it was more of a battle cry, it was a song, it was my national anthem, personal anthem, that the world and you, the ones who are viewing, need to own or will want to own a Rozario. So that was an old belief, and which is coming very real.
Perfect. And it's one of the privileges that I have, that I can call this great artist one of my great friends out here. And it so happened that we meet almost on a daily basis, or nonetheless on a weekly basis. And you don't realize that you're sitting and dining with one of the great artists out here. Just to say so, I'll walk across his art, and then we'll continue our question and answers.
Perfect.
So this is here. I turn the camera, one of the arts, one of my favorite arts out here, and let's go in leftwards direction. This is one amazing piece of art, and the best part is that these all are drawn with a theme, but then the paints were left to do the magic on its own. And I'm not the right guy to explain it in detail, but I'll certainly ask those questions with Patric so that he can help you understand how he creates these arts out here. Then we go across. Patric, which is one of your best arts that you have made so far?
Well, I think this is one of the most intriguing and difficult pieces of work I've done. This particular piece is a view of the earth from above, where you can see the erosion, the mountains, the waterscapes, and so on. So all my works are done on aluminium, and it is coated with an epoxy resin, which I poured over the stones and the pearls, so that they both embed them into the surface, which is the aluminium, and also to protect them, and you need a chisel and a hammer to remove it.
Right. So just to showcase, these all are pebbles, marbles, and gemstones. Some are precious, some are semi-precious. And this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a Swarovski crystal surrounded
Yes.
by zirconium or
And these all are stuck so hard that you can't just take them out. It's
Absolutely.
amazing. It's amazing. And I believe these all are lifetime, as in they will last for the lifetime.
Absolutely. I mean, because of the epoxy resin coating
Right.
left indoor in the Middle East, left indoor, they will remain color resistant. I mean, they will not fade, and it will remain like this even after your entire lifetime. And maintaining them is so easy. They are abrasive resistant. You can just pour water with a soap every couple of months. You clean them and it will remain like that. So,
All right. So now that we have spent an incredible time on this painting, I would like to understand what is the theme behind this painting, and more importantly, like I was asking previously, that how do you define a theme and how do you convert those themes into an art?
well, sometimes clients commission me for a piece of work. When I say commission, I sit with the client or the client's interior designers to understand what needs to be done. So I seamlessly integrate my art into the theme and do. Pieces like these are ones that I come up with my own. I create them, they are one-off pieces. I will not be able to repeat them again, ever. This particular one was inspired.
So when you said that you're not going to repeat those pieces ever, is it something that you do intentionally, or is it something that happens primarily because of some magic that paint has to do, or something which it has inbuilt in it?
Well, if it's so complicated, the process is so complicated, even if you pay me double the amount, I will not be able to replicate them, because it's a process of my own work and also the reactions of different types of paint. So therefore, I just simply cannot reproduce them at all.
So, forgive me for asking so many questions, primarily because I want to understand the process.
Please.
And obviously, our viewers who are joining us in huge number out there, they also want to understand what is so specific about this process that it can't be repeated, or what is so specific, or what is the process which makes it so vivid or so interesting?
To begin with, the epoxy consists of two portions, the main epoxy and the hardener, and they are mixed, also looking into the humidity of the time that I'm mixing them. The paint had its own life. It took nearly a month for me to do this piece, or maybe slightly more. So the layers involved, when I can assume my next work is also important. So it's a very complicated piece of work that I myself will not be able to replicate it.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the next creation that we have here on exhibition display. It's amazing part of some soul out there. I think these all are pearl. Here we go, a custom. Right, so we just got interrupted by one of the prospects, and here we go, we are on sale. Yes, so you were explaining about how these colors evolve themselves into a beautiful art or structure on themselves. So how do you define them, or how do you let them define themselves?
This piece, for example, is an inspiration from my forest days where I lived in East Malaysia. So the greens, the swamps, the mangrove forests, they are all part of what I grew up with. And I started with work with that idea in mind, that I needed to create an impression of the forest that I used to grow, play in this swamp. I used to be fishing here. This is an impression which is in my mind of the forest of Borneo.
Right, so coming on to another big piece out here, and just out of inquisitive nature that I have, how much do we spend or how much do we invest to own a Rozario?
It depends. A piece like this, which is 244 times 125 centimeters long. This is 42,000 Qatari riyals, 42,000 Qatari riyals. There are pieces which are 60,000 Qatari riyals. There are pieces which are 125,000 Qatari riyals.
So just to keep it straight, in case we have Indian viewers out there, 1 Qatari riyal is around 19 rupees, Indian rupees?
Yes, 1 Qatari riyal is 19. So 42,000 times 19 is what you would be paying.
In case we have Indian viewers out there, and just to keep, in case we have some abroad, and just to keep it in a dollar, 1 Qatari riyal is equivalent to $0.27.
Right.
Right?
Yes, correct. Right. So to do the maths, I can't remember. So that's how much work. But if you ask me to do a big piece, a wall, then I calculate by the meter. So it is 6,000 riyals per square meter.
All right.
6,000 Qatari riyal per square meter is what I work on.
So, what are these?
Well, this is my impression.
Based on my perception, these are mountains or something different.
Well, we are pretty close. This in Arabic is called Jazira. Jazira means island.
Right.
So this is a stream, and the famous song Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, this is Islands in the Stream. So these are little islands that are there in this purple stream. Islands in the stream.
Right.
And heavily studded with precious stones, gems, crystals, lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli, which is the blue stone, and the amethyst, the purple, they are the largest voice in this piece of work. And I need to mention to you, Mambu, you go to a museum, they say don't touch, well, I would say do touch. You should touch. So basically, you consume my creations visually and also by touch.
Okay.
So both the senses are very important for you. And when you install this in your home, in your office, you would be inviting people. Naturally, their children and grown-ups are naturally attracted to come and touch these pieces. And connect with them.
Right. And I also remember during our last conversation that you mentioned that you design your art on 5 elements that we have. So would you like to elaborate something on that? And how do you depict those 5 elements in your art? And do you specify them per art, or is it that you be specific in one art with one element?
Well, being exposed to the elements, so to speak, and having grown in a tropical country where ether, or the sky, the space, water, earth, wind, fire, these have been integral part of what I've understood about the universe and the cosmos. A piece like this has got both the earth and the water and the wind involved in it. There are pieces there's another beautiful piece there called Water on Fire, and that is nothing but just water. But mostly I actually involve all the 5 elements into my creations. How are they depicted? Maybe it is depicted through the use of colors, maybe in the shapes that I've done as a solid earth. Sometimes it could be just a fine stroke to depict the wind. Or you'll find empty space, which is the negative space, which you will find. For example, this piece, this shape, which is not this shape, is what we call the negative space. Things away from the normal. So the negative space I would use perhaps just stroke of this thing to show you the wind. So there you go, the 5 elements.
Right. So let's move to another creation. This is one of my favorites again, and it has so much of vibrancy out there, and still it maintains some kind of theme. So would you like to elaborate on the theme that you decided or you thought of before creating this?
Well, being in the Middle East, being in Qatar, I need to speak their language. I need to speak about.
Right. Just to keep it straight, Patric is Malaysian. He's a native Malaysian.
Yes, correct.
And he had been in
I've been in Qatar for 12 years now.
12 years, and prior coming to Qatar, you were with Merchant Navy? Or?
Well, yeah, I sailed the world. I sailed Singapore's national carrier. So I sailed the world for 8 years, and a lot of these things are impressions that I gathered from
those experiences.
Those experiences around the globe. And this particular piece here is a dalla, or the coffee mug rather, very synonymous with the Arab people, and it is the sign of hospitality. And I have used the steam coming out from this dalla, and I've used Arabic calligraphy to represent the steam coming out from this hot, welcoming coffee pot. And these are the little cups, and they are also embedded and studded with expensive jewels. And
so just to give you a perspective, these are the jewels which are embedded in the art, and they are so stuck that it will not come off.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what we call a smoky quartz. And this is what we call a beryl. And I have got a big, huge Swarovski crystal here. That is lapis lazuli. These are emeralds. These are zirconium, beryl,
Right.
and yeah, it's precious and semi-precious stone. And this is I've used a thing. This is the organic gem called Gomti Chakra, available only or found only in one river in India.
Which river?
The Gomti River. I think it runs through Lucknow.
Yes.
So these are the Gomti shells, the very rare shells. Has got a lot of religious symbolism in the Indian cultural context. And in this calligraphy, they don't mean anything in particular. So I've studied them with Swarovski pearls. So
right.
This. If you've seen some of the pieces, you can install them vertically. You can install them horizontally. This piece definitely is a piece that you should install as your main focus wall. In a big hall in a hotel, all you need is just one piece like this. It just changes the entire aura, and it just
ambience of the
right. With an expensive and awesome piece of work like this.
Right. Now coming to another magnificent painting out here. So we also had discussion about these pearls and these stones having their own vibrations. So do they impact on the art as such, or do they impact on the perception?
Well, people who are familiar with gems and pearls, especially with crystals, know the crystal has got this vibration in its native format, whether as a whole crystal or whether they are cut into smaller pieces. So what kind of vibration? I believe they are all positive vibrations for human beings. The Chinese are known specifically to use these crystals as energy points for acupuncture and all sorts of massages, and they put it in their altars. They put it in the fish tank. Just looking at the crystal itself is beautiful, you know.
Right.
And the vibration that you get out of those crystals is beautiful. I mean, believe me, if this piece was in your house and you put a chair down there with a coffee in hand, you would be able to just concentrate on this particular part for today and feel the vibrations, and tomorrow you'll sit another day and see beauty in another spot. You can actually keep on admiring this for the entire year.
So it's like that painting grows on you.
The painting grows on you, and the paintings become you, and you become the painting. On that note, I want to tell you something. I do not finish my painting. You as the owner, you as somebody who owns a Rozario,
completes it.
Continue to enjoy, to create in a different way and create value and create energy out of this, and then you will pass it on to the people who come and visit, and the story goes on and on and on. And somewhere behind, I'm enjoying to see that the creation is continuing.
Amazing. It looks like a swirl action in itself, right? In the live way, when you're creating a painting and then it goes on like a swirl.
Yeah, it just goes on a swirl. I mean, this is a piece. Spirals always happen. This is one of my favorite pieces.
So, like you were mentioning that these paints, they grow on themselves, or they choose their own magic, or they choose their own path to grow so that the painting gets completed. But at the end of the day, you are designing something which you have thought of. So how do you decide that path, or how do you make these paths that these paints will grow only in certain direction, or these paints will have certain flair or some art in there? How do you define them?
Well, I had for this particular piece, I had a preliminary sketch on an A4 size paper. I know this is the best balance I have, 3 pieces. So once the base is done, when I pour my paint, I pour it in a way that it follows my direction, my sketch. But however, the paint itself will start eating into one another and reacting with one another. But I will have a handy brush, sponge brush in hand to push the paint into...
So you give them direction?
Yeah, I give them directions. I give them directions and control their flow.
So if I understand it correctly, with the look of it, is it solar system or some kind of galaxy out there?
Yeah, for me it is one of the, you always have spirals happening in the universe,
right,
in the galaxy, and this seems to be a time lapse of their trail, their path. I mean, you wouldn't see in a shot, but these are trails of that movement of these spirals.
Amazing. Then moving on to another painting that we have on the display, and just to keep this in the context, I'm moving across different paintings primarily because, as Rozario said, none of these paintings would be alike and none of them can be recreated. So each painting, like the artist himself, is an unique creation. And then this looks like some ceramic tiles out there and with some design. So would you like to explain how exactly you thought of this kind of design or something of this sort before you really recreated them, or before you really crafted them on the piece?
Before I explain, let me do a bit of dance on this.
Wow.
This is an example to show how continuous panels can be created. This is almost 3 meters times 1.25 meters each, which means to say, you give me a design, you give me a theme, I can actually create the entire wall based on this, on a single design.
So just to keep it in perspective, in case I have a living room and it's an empty wall, it can be recreated with this fitment, and
exactly.
I believe this is an aluminium structure on which you...
Yeah, this is an aluminium.
So would you like to explain more about the structure on which you create your painting?
These are called composite panels. They are 4 mm thick aluminium composite panels, which is steadily available, easily available in most parts of the world. And aluminium composite panels are so steady, they don't even bend in extreme heat. They don't warp, they don't sink, so they're steady. And they're lightweight.
So they can withstand extreme temperatures.
And most important, they're lightweight.
Okay.
Lightweight. So they remain like this. A canvas painting will not last even half the span of this.
Right.
So I could do this here on your wall, and I could do the same thing on your ceiling as well.
So how do you fix them?
There are myriads of ways to fix them. I mean, there are many ways. There are hanging mechanisms. I partner with...
So for example, this looks more an apt design for my living room, for example. So if I have to fix it in some living room, or let's say it's a big auditorium room where I have to get it fixed, what do? Do I need to punch hole in the wall and get it fixed that way, or is there any other way where we can fix it?
Well, most because these things are supposed to last you a lifetime. My concern is about more of your pieces than your wall. Having said that, there will be minimal damage done to a wall. There are many ways you can actually put a almost very thin frame that holds it. There are mechanisms. I work with a vendor who's got 50 different solutions based on your type of your wall. So
how much does it cost?
This particular piece, you can do the maths in rupees in the US. These are 6,000 reals per square meter.
That's for your creation. I'm saying fixture, let's say.
No, it's all inclusive.
Okay.
I mean, if you're living in the Middle East, you're living in the thing, it is inclusive. But if you're living in India, you're living in Europe, you will have to incur additional costs for installation. And of course, my transportation to your place, to your country, will also be added on top of this.
So now that you have talked about transportation, in case we have viewers across different geographies, and in case they want to look at your creation, or in case they want to opt for your creation, or in case they want to order something for themselves?
Right.
How do they do that?
Well, in my website, my full address is given. I don't want to spell it out. Go to my website, which is Owner Rozario, O-W-N, Rozario, as in Owner Rozario website. And in my website, the address is given. We will talk over the phone. Maybe you will visit me, and maybe I come to your place and understand your basic requirement. We signed a dotted line.
So when you say visit, you will do an international visit as well, in case it is.
If the order is a decent.
So obviously, it has to be a value for money that you
value for
invest.
money, I mean,
Right.
This thing, so I'll have to come down, speak to you, and understand, and give you show you some samples. Once it is done, these are packed in a super packing, again aluminum boxes with this thing. They're shipped by air or by ship, and they arrive in good shape without a scratch.
So are they dismantled, or they are shipped in as is form?
As is form, for example, these are standard sizes, 2.44 times 1.2.
So, but these seems like three pieces.
Three separate
Right.
pieces.
So these three pieces will be shipped in a separate packing?
No, I will actually ship them in one particular box with layers, with paddings in between. So once you arrive, and I will, in this case, I will number them behind. So
Alright.
you know which one goes after next, the sequence.
So 1, 2, 3, that will be done.
Absolutely.
In case it is a multiple design.
Correct.
Perfect. So let's move to another colorful creation out there, and it seems more like trees and what exactly it is?
Well, this is a piece simply called the bouquet. The bouquet. There was a show in San Francisco where an art gallery called all the florists in the city to come forward and look at one particular piece of sculpture or painting and create next to it floral arrangement. So that became famous for that particular city, and I've been following that process. So the bouquet of flowers, it's a technique that I discovered as I was working on a couple of pieces. This is my third piece I'm doing, but nothing similar to this. So it's a technique of creating and pushing the paints up and up into one direction, and you have the whole bouquet.
Right. Or, yeah, it does look like a bouquet. Now, coming to another creation out there. And these all are stones, pearls, lapis lazuli.
Yeah, this is called a moss, agate moss. These are all emerald. This is a kind of a green agate. The Gomti chakra, the beryl. These are the beryls that you see. Lapis lazuli, blue onyx, American diamonds or zirconium. These are carnelians. The red ones are carnelians. Blue onyx again, beryl, and American diamonds. Yeah, it's rich in those expensive stones. I've even used yellow, the citrine stone crystals.
So do they enhance, as in they do enhance the beauty of the art, but do they also enhance the pricing of the art?
Yes, yes. I mean, for example, if you commission me to do a piece like this, and you say you don't want these things, but you want to do it in diamonds, and give me that 1 kilo of diamonds, I'll be happy to work on those, and then the price also will go up depending on the kind of stones I use. And some of these stones are very rare stones and difficult to get. The lapis lazuli, for example, this kind of quantity for me to have it across to come to Qatar, they come from Afghanistan. They're expensive pieces, and that's why this piece is 62,000 Qatari riyals.
Oh my God. All right, so we are coming to almost an end of the exhibition. And here we go. And then almost last but not the least, another one of my favorites. And we'll have a quick chat in front of this. Alright, so just to keep it in perspective, this exhibition started on 19th of January.
Correct.
And what was your experience in last, I think 10 days or 12 days. And in fact, this was supposed to last on 31st of January, but because of these amazing and mesmerizing painting, these people, as in, this is hosted at City Center Rotana. City Center Rotana requested to extend it till 11th of February.
Yes,
so
correct.
what was your experience in last couple of weeks?
I think the opening day itself was a success. Opening day was amazing. The hundreds of people came, from people from all walks of life, architects, interior designers. I knew the first day itself, I got it, the formula all correct, and everybody was here. Amazing, the well-wishers. Hopefully I'm going to get 1 or 2 orders very soon for a project. So it went on, and then it was supposed to end on the 31st, but the hotel asked me to extend, and now it is going to be until the 11th, and there's going to be a short break. This is an event hosted, invited by the hotel, so I was happy to have it. It's a fantastic venue.
You're happy to oblige them for that.
well, yeah.
All right.
It's a nice place to be.
So this is the second time or third time that I'm having a live witness of the painting. In fact, I had a privilege to even witness the artist in action live at his studio, where he was making those painting live and making, as in injecting life in them. So I would suggest, if you would have not visited here, as in if you have not visited here even once, please visit here once. This exhibition is one of the rarest, I think, and I think this is the first time that you are hosting such exhibition ever at Doha.
Yes, this is the first time, and as we speak, there is no corridor in the world will have so many gems, crystals, and pearls
under one roof.
Under one roof as art.
Perfect.
So this is to be here itself is an experience.
Perfect. So this exhibition is going to last on 11th of February.
Yes.
Please visit if you are in Doha.
Please do come if you are living in Doha.
If you are not in Doha, please fly down and visit. It's worth. And I think this is one of the lifetime opportunities that you have to visit and meet the artist in person. You never know.
Welcome.
When you are going to own a Rozario,
absolutely.
Or if you see this Rozario painting somewhere, you just wish to meet the artist in person. So this is the lifetime opportunity. Please do come and visit. Just to conclude, I would like to have a final statement from the artist, Patric Rozario, a great friend, that when you say that no artist in this world does this kind of painting, what does this signify, and what kind of relevance does this statement has?
Well, there are 3 other artists in the world who are actually working with resin on metals, but I'm the only artist in the world who's actually working with resins, embedding them with pearls, crystals, and jewels. So I'm the only artist in the world working with metals, pearls, and crystals together with resin. You will never find them anywhere in the world, and you will never find such pieces anywhere in the world. And even if you ask me to create another piece, I can't create a similar piece.
And I think you also got a recent award for the same. Would you like to describe the award?
Yeah, after 3 years of trial and attempt, being rejected, I became what we call a master craftsman. A master craftsman is one of the highest allocates. It's like a high-end ISO that an artist would receive. So I received it in July last year. So in effect, I'm a master craftsman that need to pass on this knowledge as I grow older and older, and have a guild system, have students under me, and the idea of a master craftsman is that it is someone who is so proficient in his work, and also he is a trustworthy person. So trust and proficiency are the 2 parameters of, and by the way, this is going to be evaluated every year. So I hope to remain as a master craftsman the following year.
We wish you the best. And just to remind you again, this exhibition is going to last on 11th of February. Please make a note of the venue. It is at City Center Rotana. And if you want to meet him, these paintings are on display throughout, as in they are on display for whole day.
Yes, anytime anyone can come to City Center Rotana and enjoy the pieces.
Have a look. And in case you want to meet him, just give him a call. You can visit his website to get his details, or if you just want to walk in at the right time, it is, I think, by 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Most of the time, Patric would be here to host you and guide you through these paintings. Please do visit 11th February, last day, to gain the experience you will never gain ever in your lifetime.
Thank you.
Signing off.
Thank you. Signing off.